AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Pakistan's top judges delay review of Christian women's death sentence. Clashes in Burma's Rakhine state have killed more than 30 Rohingya. Thai authorities arrest 44 youth from South over planned attack. Don't give about human rights, said Philippine president. Religious freedom not protected in Indonesia. Urgent appeals from Pakistan and Nepal. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I am April. Beginning with Pakistan this week, the appeal of Miss Asia Bibi, a Christian woman accused of blasphemy and on death row for the past 7 years, has been further adjourned by the Supreme Court after receiving threats from fundamentalist and banned terrorist organizations. Justice Hamid-ur Rehman recused himself from the 3 members bench hearing the appeal. Due to conflict of interest, the threats perhaps reminded Justice Rehman that he was a part of the bench hearing the case of Salman Taseer, former governor of Punjab who was assassinated by a fundamentalist police official for supporting Asia Bibi. Asia Bibi's lawyer said it would probably take weeks or months for a replacement judge to be found and for the appeal to be rescheduled. Asia Bibi initially filed a review petition before the Supreme Court against her death sentence in 2014, and it was kept pending for 2 years. It finally came up for hearing in the highest court on October 13th this year. In fact, the judges surprised no one by keeping the case in abeyance. By adjourning such cases indefinitely, Pakistan's judges have tried to avert the pressure on them from religious militants. For Asia, however, it will mean more years of incarceration and solitary confinement. Bowing down to Muslim fundamentalist groups, Pakistan's judiciary is failing vulnerable members of society. The government of Pakistan would rather have Asia Bibi die in jail than be blamed for hanging her. To date, other inmates for jail officials have killed 5 inmates on death row accused of blasphemy. Authorities see this as the easiest way to appease the fundamentalist. Mob vigilantism is rife in the country, with mobs dispensing their idea of instant justice to anyone uttering a single word deemed blasphemous, as witnessed in Kasu City, when a Christian couple along with their unborn child was burned alive over alleged blasphemy. The mob spares no one. There have been no convictions to date in the Kasu murder. In Burma, 29 people have died in Rakhine state, according to state media, in clashes between armed men and troops. The military has been deployed to the region, near the Bangladesh border, after 9 police officers were killed on Sunday in 3 coordinated attacks. These are the first major attacks since 2012, when sectarian violence in Rakhine killed more than 100 people and drove tens of thousands of Rohingya into displacement camps. Most people in the area are Muslim Rohingya, a stateless minority viewed as illegal immigrants by Buddhist nationalists, even though many have lived in Burma for generations. According to Matthew Smith from the NGO Fortify Rights, since the attack, we have documented several videos showing armed men speaking the Rohingya language and encouraging volunteers to come engage in armed conflict in Rakhine state. In response, the Burmese government has commenced a brutal crackdown. The army is moving into villages, suspecting all of the men and boys of being involved, and committing a variety of human rights violations. The authorities have extended a regional curfew to between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. and closed about 400 schools for the next 2 weeks. There are fears that the situation could get worse than the violence of 2012. In particular, there are concerns that the military response could provoke a backlash from other Muslim ethnic minorities across the country. Aung San Suu Kyi, Burma's de facto leader, recently appointed a commission headed by former UN Chief Kofi Annan to find ways to solve the issue. Annan, however, explicitly said the commission would not focus on human rights issues in Rakhine. The very purpose of the commission is thus under question. Moving to Thailand, authorities have arrested at least 44 youth from the country's southern provinces, suspected of involvement in a plan to attack Bangkok between 20th to 25th October. The attack would mark the 12th anniversary of the Thak Bai killing. A joint police and army task force arrested 36 young men and 8 young women from multiple locations in Bangkok, according to Sulhan Biting, a member of the Southern student group PNYS. Most of the arrested were students from Bangkok's Rakhine University. Sulhan stated that the arrest violated human rights with the use of rude words, the use of guns to threaten the suspects and force them to face down. Many were injured from the arrest. Sulhan added that, according to one suspect, the security officers did not even know their names before rounding them up for interrogation. The PNYS activist also reported that 4 students of Rakhine University and 1 other individual were charged after the raid with possessing kratom leaves, an addictive substance banned in Thailand. 11 of the arrested youth have been released. In response to the arrests, the Federation of Patani Students and Youth, a prominent student activist group, issued a statement urging the Thai authorities to respect the rules of law and human rights when handling suspects. It called on the government to stop stigmatizing people from the south of Thailand, the majority of whom are Muslim. Next, the Philippines president has said he does not give about human rights while dismissing the deaths of innocent civilians and children as collateral damage in his brutal war on drugs. More than 3,500 people have been killed in the first 100 days of Rodrigo Duterte's presidency by security forces and vigilante gangs, while the number includes suspected drug users, addicts, dealers, and smugglers. Many of the dead are innocent people caught in the crossfire and murdered over personal scores. Although President Duterte said the deaths of children and innocent people would be investigated, he claimed there was no criminal liability for security forces who killed innocent bystanders in operations, comparing them to the US-led coalition's bombing of ISIS territory. President Duterte has been unrepentant about his call for supporters to kill criminals. According to him, the large number of Filipinos mired in drugs would destroy the next generation. "If you destroy our young children, I will kill you," he said. According to him, that is a very correct statement. There is nothing wrong in trying to preserve the interests of the next generation. The UN has repeatedly condemned his policies, as have the EU, human rights groups, and the Roman Catholic Church, the dominant religion in the Philippines. Indonesia has seen grave religious intolerance over the past year. Extremist groups easily delivered hate speeches and committed hate crimes without any prosecution and punishment from law enforcement agencies. Although police regulations prohibit and punish hate speech and crimes, the Indonesian police have not shown any willingness to protect minority groups and prosecute the perpetrators. The Indonesian government has also not shown its willingness to invite the UN Special Rapporteur on freedom of religion and belief for a country visit. In many cases, extremist and anti-tolerance groups, such as the Islamic Defenders Front, act like law enforcement agencies, attacking minority religions and beliefs. They also use religion as a political vehicle, swaying the public against non-Muslim political candidates. In Jakarta, for instance, A non-Muslim running for governor was a target of hate speech and hate crimes. Additionally, the prohibition of worship and other activities of minority religions continue to occur. Finally, the Urgent Appeals Weekly features 4 cases from Pakistan and Nepal. In Pakistan, a young engineer was tortured and extrajudicially killed in a state police encounter. The engineer was working on the construction of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, and the real reason behind the murder is still unclear. Also in Pakistan, a girls' school teacher has been declared liable to be killed in the name of honor for establishing a girls' primary school in a feudal area. She was earlier kidnapped by her maternal uncle and detained there for 2 months, where she was tortured and asked to wind up the school and turn it into a place of recreation for the powerful people of Jacobabad district. In Nepal, police officers attached to District Police Office Nepalganj have illegally arrested, detained and tortured a man, in spite of a stay order issued by the High Court. The police defied the court decision and arrested Rashid due to the influence of his brother Nasir Darji, with whom Rashid has a property dispute. In another incident, Nepali police officers attached to the Dang District Police illegally arrested and tortured Salman Khan of the Dang District, charging him with robberies at Lamahi, Guranchi and Tulsipu Chowk. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more of this and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.